Welcome to this explainer. We are jumping right in today because I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through a highly practical, comprehensive guide on exactly how to send a wire transfer using Wells Fargo. So whether you're completely new to this or just need a really solid refresher, stick with me. By the end of this session, you're going to be an absolute expert. Picture this. You are finally closing on that absolute dream house, but the deadline to submit your down payment is today. A standard bank transfer? Yeah, that just won't cut it. The stakes are super high, and you need to move a huge sum of money instantly and, above all, securely. This is exactly why mastering the skill of sending a wire transfer is so absolutely crucial in our fast-paced, transaction-driven world. Honestly, it's like the ultimate heavy lifting tool for your finances. So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the basics of wire transfers, what you need to start, a step-by-step transfer guide, understanding fees and limits, a few real-world scenarios, and wrap up with troubleshooting and safety tips. Starting with Section 1, the basics of wire transfers. What exactly are we talking about when we say wire transfer? Well, it's essentially an electronic money transfer, moving funds directly from one financial institution to another. And what makes this so special? There is literally no third-party middleman holding things up. That direct bank-to-bank connection is exactly what makes wire transfers distinctively fast and the undisputed gold standard for high-value transactions. Now, you might be wondering how this compares to its everyday cousin, the ACH transfer. ACH transfers are those standard, usually free transfers we use for things like direct deposit payroll or paying monthly utility bills. They're reliable, for sure, but they take about 1 to 3 days. Wire transfers, on the other hand, are the premium express route. They generally come with a fee, but they can arrive on the exact same day. Bottom line, you use a wire transfer when time is truly of the essence. Let's move to Section 2, what you need to start. First up, let's look at what you, the sender, actually need. Wells Fargo has some pretty strict security prerequisites to make sure you're eligible to kick off a digital transfer. You absolutely must have an active Wells Fargo account. You also need a current physical U.S. residential address on file. That means no P.O. boxes, folks. And just a quick note for digital wires. Customers in U.S. territories actually can't initiate them online. Finally, you have to have a valid U.S. mobile number or an RSA Secure ID device for multi-factor authentication. Security is paramount here, and they don't mess around with it. Okay, now for the recipient. Think of this as your pre-flight checklist. You're going to need their full legal name and physical address, their bank's name, and their account number. Now, if you're sending domestically within the U.S., you just need their 9-digit routing number. Easy enough. But if you're sending internationally, the game changes a bit. You'll need a SWIFT or BIC code or an IBAN. Depending on the exact country, you might even need specialized regional codes, like a CLABE for Mexico or an IFSC for India. Always double-check these details with your recipient. On to Section 3, Step-by-Step Transfer Guide. If you're taking the digital route, which, let's be real, is incredibly convenient, here is your simple 5-step playbook. First, sign on to Wells Fargo online or open up the mobile app. Second, navigate over to Transfer and Pay and select Wire Money. Third, you're going to add your recipient details. A really great feature here is that Wells Fargo actually lets you save recipient details, which brilliantly prevents manual data entry errors down the line. Fourth, select the account you're funding this from and punch in the amount. And fifth, carefully review everything and send your payment. It really is just that streamlined. Of course, if you prefer the peace of mind of doing things in person, or if your specific transaction requires it, you can just visit a branch to complete a physical outgoing wire transfer request form. You'll need to bring a valid government-issued photo ID, and a banker will sit down and help you fill out this exact paperwork face-to-face. Now, timing is literally everything with wires. You have got to know your cutoffs. At Wells Fargo, the daily cutoff for international wires is 2:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. For domestic wires, it's 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you beat the clock, domestic wires typically arrive that exact same day, sometimes instantly. International wires generally take about 1 to 5 business days, mostly depending on the destination and the various banks involved. Don't ever let these deadlines catch you off guard. Let's look at Section 4. Understanding fees and limits. Let's break down the fee schedule, because nobody likes surprise charges. Wells Fargo uses a dual-tiered system. Doing it yourself digitally is definitely cheaper. Sending a digital domestic or international wire in US dollars costs a flat $25. But if you go into a branch for hands-on assistance, that fee jumps to $40 for all outgoing wires. Interestingly, though, if you are a consumer sending a digital international wire in a foreign currency, the upfront fee is actually $0. Oh, and for business accounts receiving a wire, expect a $15 incoming fee. But wait, let's look a little closer at that $0 fee for foreign currency wires. Here's the catch. While the upfront transfer fee might be waived, it is absolutely not entirely free. The bank still makes money by applying a markup to the exchange rate. They set the rate at their sole discretion, and that's going to include a spread above the mid-market rate. It's incredibly vital to be aware of this when you're calculating exactly how much your recipient will actually receive on the other end. Now, I want you to keep a very specific number in mind: $10,000. Wire transfers are obviously built for high-value transactions, but you need to know that any international transfer exceeding $10,000 is automatically reported by the bank to the IRS. Don't panic, this is standard federal regulatory procedure. You can absolutely send way more than this, but it just triggers automatic reporting requirements behind the scenes. Moving right along to Section 5, Real-World Scenarios. Like I mentioned earlier, wire transfers really are the heavy-duty power tools of the financial world. You use them for major life events. Think about paying a massive international invoice for your small business where the vendor demands guaranteed funds before they'll even think about shipping a container. Or closing on a real estate purchase where title companies absolutely require the security and speed of a wire to hand over the keys. Or maybe even sending emergency cash to a family member who got stranded abroad. These scenarios demand the guaranteed direct delivery that really only a wire transfer can provide. But, wires aren't the only tool in the shed. The sources note some alternatives depending on your exact needs. For instance, Wells Fargo offers Express Send. That's a great option for lower-limit, person-to-person transfers to Latin America or Asia, especially if the recipient needs a physical cash pickup rather than a direct bank deposit. Our sources also mention third-party tools like Wise or Z. Some users really prefer these for international transfers because they often utilize transparent mid-market exchange rates. It's always smart to survey the whole landscape to match the tool to your exact scenario. Finally, Section 6, Troubleshooting and Safety Tips. 30 minutes. That is a super short but absolutely vital window to remember. While domestic wire transfers are generally final the second they are received, you may have up to 30 minutes to cancel certain international wires or express send transactions. But let me be perfectly clear about this. You must operate under the assumption that once you authorize a wire, that money is gone. Speed is the wire transfer's greatest strength, but it's exactly why cancellations are so incredibly difficult. Which brings us to probably the most crucial warning in this whole explainer: safety first. Because wire transfers are largely irreversible and they move funds instantly, they are a massive target for fraudsters. Scammers love to trick people into wiring them money. You must verify, and verify again every single recipient detail before you hit send. Only send wires to highly trusted parties, legitimate businesses, or verified title companies. If someone is ever pressuring you to wire money urgently, stop right there and take a huge step back. Look, even with perfect preparation, sometimes you just need a real human being to help untangle a snag. If your wire gets stuck, if a correspondent bank suddenly needs more information, or if you just need some guidance, here is your lifeline. You can call Wells Fargo customer support directly at 1-800-869-3557 for dedicated wire transfer help. Or, of course, you can always visit a local branch to speak with a banker face-to-face. So you now have the blueprint for confidently executing a wire transfer. But it really leaves you wondering, as digital platforms like Wise and Xe continue to offer mid-market rates and instant speeds, how long will traditional bank wires remain the gold standard for moving our biggest assets? We've covered all the exact steps, the fees, the cutoff times, and those absolutely crucial safety protocols you need today. Just a quick reminder, this explainer provides general educational information derived directly from our sources. For personalized advice or specific account questions, always consult Wells Fargo or your financial advisor directly. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I will catch you in the next explainer.